I am KT. I am the youth and sports pastor here at Third Street and the Martin Center. My whole childhood was wrapped around sports. Athletics is the only thing that I can think anyone ever told me was important growing up. Um, there's a young man that's my age that said something to me that was very powerful when I first met him, and he said, for a lot of children in our type of communities, they don't recognize what life is until the ball goes flat. And what that meant for me was when sports is no longer what you can chase after, what else are you going to have? So as a sports pastor, building upon someone's understanding of what's important, the Bible says that your heart is where your treasure is, and everything in life fades away. So basketball's not going to always be there. Money's not going to always be there. Family members are not going to always be there. The only thing that I've ever found in my life that has never forsaken me is Jesus. So to help these kids, these adults, these young men, these young women understand that Jesus is always going to be there for you. It helps you when the ball goes flat. It helps you when mom doesn't have it. It helps you when dad doesn't show up. And for a lot of, once again, people in our community, they often find out sometime in life that something's not going to go the way that they thought it was. So to have a spiritual foundation, that's going to keep a kid away from going into a life of violence, from starting to sell drugs, from committing suicide. So I kind of feel like it's our responsibility to spiritually give them that foundation. So I'll kind of break it into sections. As the sports pastor, we have a 3rd through 7th grade elementary school, or we have a 3rd through 7th grade basketball league. We have a 5th through 8th grade basketball league. We have a high school, which is a 13 through 19-year-old basketball league. We have an adult league. And I would say the thing about each league that kind of ties up what those leagues are all about is in a real basketball game, the first half, once the halftime ends, you go to the locker room. So we have this thing that we have that's called the locker room. So as soon as the first half is over with, normally in a basketball game, you go to the locker room, and at this point, you're either winning or you're losing. And in life, that's kind of how people feel. They either feel like they're winning or they feel like they're losing. And then at halftime, what you do is a coach comes in and he gives you the adjustments for the second half. He says, this is what you're doing that's right. This is what you're doing that's wrong. This is the game plan going forward. So what we try to do in every league that we have is we go to the locker room at halftime and we talk about the wins. We talk about the losses. We talk about the adjustments, and we talk about the game plan. So as a Christian ministry, our game plan is wrapped around Christ. So I would say the biggest expectation in our sports ministry is making sure that we're taking a time out from sports and talking about the game plan, talking about the adjustments that need to be taken, taking into consideration that some of these people are coming into the locker room with wins and losses. But it's still a second half to be played. There's still more to life to have than what we've already, accomplished, or what we've already struggled with, or whatever brokenness or trauma that you've been through. There's adjustments that can be made, and God has a plan. So let's look at that game plan and, start to work towards the future. The More Than a Game basketball tournament is a cash tournament where we allow for people to come forward and play competitively, but as well be educated on. This year we were educating people on COVID, on mental health, on physical health, on education, on finances, on credit. So the lack of education is what is destroying our community. So I felt like this would be a perfect way to educate those that may not otherwise want that education. A place in our community that gives when nobody else is. So from the Christmas giveaway to Epic to our sports basketball leagues to our youth ministry, if our kids don't get it from here, a lot of times they just won't get it at all. So I would say the reason why whoever is watching this right now, you should give your money to us, is because if you don't give it to us, then who will? If you don't give it to us, then where are our children going to get a basketball league that is safe, but also giving them a foundation? Where are the people in our community going to go to get their Christmas gifts this year? Where are they going to send their kids for camp? To my knowledge, there's nobody else going into the communities that we service and doing that stuff. And it's because of the fact that people go into what they have or what they don't have and they give to us. So I had a sermon this year where I asked the question, if you don't, then who will? And I would say that is the reason why everyone who's watching this should give. Because if you don't, then who else will?